Hello and welcome to this film on Delta Sleep, Inside of the Track. The song's called Constant Dreamer. So if you'd watched last week's film, you'd know that this week we're looking at a Delta Sleep song. And first of all, massive thanks for Delta Sleep for letting us have a poke around in this project and have a look. Like, sincerely, it's a very cool thing to let people have a look at. It can be quite a private place, like a Pro Tools session sometimes. So that's really cool of them. If you don't know the band or you haven't checked them out, please check them out. They're really, really cool. I'm not just saying this because I work with them. I was a fan before I was an employee. And I actually hassled them for a while to let me have a go with them in the studio. So I'm really happy to work with this band. Last year, this EP was done. This is called the Younger Years EP. And before that, we did a record called Ghost City. We did that out in Italy. When we did Ghost City, that was like the first time working together. And it's quite immediately obvious with this band if you listen to them, or if you see them live especially, because I mean that was my first encounter with the band, was seeing them live, and they're just such a great live band that you don't want to lose that on a record. And by all means, I suppose you could record everything separately and you would come up with something really good. And there's a lot of benefits to recording things separately and kind of honing in on every little sound. But I didn't want to kind of get away from that live energy. So when we did Ghost City, we had everyone set up in the same room, guitar amps blaring with the drum kit. I think bass amp was separated off, but essentially got the main tracks like that, and then just did a few overdubs and bits and pieces afterwards. This time we recorded down in Middle Farm, and it's just an EP, so I think we spent 5 days there. And much the same, wanted to get the main tracks, everyone live, just want to capture a kind of honest version of the band. We did the same thing, only initially we set up all the guitar amps in the room, same thing as we did in Italy, but for whatever reason, when I set them up, the guitars just didn't sound quite as exciting as we wanted them to, and that was due to the perfect volume in terms of the spill ratio into the drum kit. The drum mics and things meant that the amps sounded a bit underpowered. We just wanted to crank them a little bit more because valve amps just sound a bit better when they're loud. So we separated them off a bit. We put one setup downstairs under the studio, and it was still kind of booming through the floor a bit, but it was significantly reduced because a bit of that spill's good. And the other one was between the control room and the live room, kind of in a little boothy thing. So that was the setup. We did a song a day. So this was sort of decided from the outset that we were going to do a song a day, and we were going to do it so all the main tracks were there. So the minimum we got done would be a whole song, guitar, bass, drums, and then lead vocals and doubles. So the few of the songs, it turned into being a bit more than that, because we just sort of got the song done by lunchtime, whatever, and then would have put a few guitar overdubs on, done the vocals, done the double. A lot of the parts had kind of doubled and things, so we would have done those as we go. And if there were any obvious harmonies that Dev, the singer, either had in his mind already and thought, I might as well just chuck these down as we go, or if you come up with ideas on the fly, we would put things down. So it was really nice way to work, actually, really satisfying, kind of finishing each day, having a cup of wine or something and being like, yes, we've done a whole song. And everyone was really happy, really, really pleased to be there working with me. They were like, yes, Mark, you did really. So this was a really good way of working. It meant that things were kept interesting, but what it also means is you can kind of get your heads into that song as a song. So what I mean by that is when you're doing a bunch of stuff, when you're tracking a bunch of drums that are to go on an EP or an album, a lot of the time, even if you are getting these kind of live guitar tracks at the same time, you're kind of trying to churn through the tracks and do it a bit more like a production line. So you'll get all the back line done for all the songs, then you'll do all the vocals and all that kind of thing. And we wanted to split it up. It's much nicer not to be doing a whole day of singing. This kind of thing gets really dry. So what I'm getting at is you can concentrate on a song at the beginning of the day. People can play through it and everything's mic'd up and ready to go. And then we can listen and be like, right, and kind of hone the guitar sounds in for that song. Do the same with the drums. You might want to change the snare drum, tune the kit differently. There's the opportunity to just tweak everything and tailor it for that song. So that's a really, really cool way to work. And then we saved a day deliberately right at the end that we just did some extra kind of candy floss stuff, like bits of keys. We did some kind of gang vocal, group vocal stuff. We did some extra kind of noisy bits of guitar, and as you'll see in this mix, there's some other kind of fun stuff in there just to give it atmosphere. But I think 90% of this record, as with the other one, is the band playing in the room, which is the important thing. We could have left those overdubs off and it'd still be cracking, I would say. So as you can see here, the band really enjoyed working with me. I believe this is one of the many jokes I told Glenn. There he is, look. Understood the joke straight away, laughing, clearly laughing. And another one there. This is probably, I dare say, 10 minutes later, still going. There he is, look, he's gone into the other room just to sort of calm off. But he's still, I mean, he's still laughing a little bit. He's still chuckling to himself, so. Okay, so all good things come to an end. Hopefully that was a good thing. And next week's film will contain the more nerdy side, where I actually look into the project and we have a listen to some of the bits soloed out and some fun stuff like that. I'm not going to go into mega nerdy detail because I'm going to do plenty of mega nerdy videos about kind of mixing and things like that, and I've done a few already, so yeah, check those out if you want. But hopefully that was a good look into the session and has set you up ready for the next video, part 2, or next week, and will hold some interest even if you're not into this whole recording mixing malarkey. It's quite fun seeing the sort of insides of the track, especially if it's a band you're into. So tune in or go straight to that video now, depending when in time you sit. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe